All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm Dr. Trent with Restoration Chiropractic, coming to you today talking about our Health Knox series today, which is the Mind-Body Connection 101. And all month long, every Wednesday, I'm doing a Health Knox series geared towards mental health and how that ties to physical health in ways that you never knew about. Now, if you're joining us with the live or the replay, please engage with us. This is part of our community to help you learn, help you discover your journey and improve your journey on this journey for extraordinary health, not only if you're here in the West Knoxville area, but also if you're watching in other states or other communities. We'd love to help you become the healthiest and be an advocate for others as well. So leave your questions below. Please engage. Please like, comment, share. It helps not only spread this message, but also helps me to engage with you. If you have any questions, put them below. I'll answer them later. And also, if you stay tuned with the live, anybody who's on live throughout this live, I am going to do a giveaway. And that giveaway is going to be vitamin D3. So I'll do that a little bit later. And let's just jump right into this. So we first have to understand when we talk about mental health and how it ties to the body, so mind and body, as you see on the slide behind me, that it's about the mind-body connection and how this understanding of the physiology and its state, how it's genetically expressed, impacts your cells in your body, because everything goes on a cellular level. Everything impacts the cellular level and then builds from there, from cells, tissue, organs, and organ systems, okay? Now, the core connector, if you will, the central connector of the mind and the body is your central nervous system. Whether you knew that or not, it's the driving factor that connects the two. Now, what's interesting is both the mental, emotional side of health and the physical side of health, both of those elicit or influence the same areas of the brain. And specifically, if you're interested, it's the prefrontal cortex and the cerebellum or the brainstem. And I'll talk about those more in depth on a Health Knox live series in a couple weeks from now. But just know that whether it's mental, emotional stress or physical stress, they both impact or influence, if you will, the brain. Now here, I want to show you just how that makes this come together. So here we are, and we're looking at a perceived stress versus an actual stress. So let's talk about actual stress. Let's say you ran into this grizzly bear, and all of a sudden you're going to have a physiological response to this grizzly bear that you run into. Your heart rate's going to elevate, your blood pressure is going to go up, your breathing becomes more shallow and erratic. Guess what? The two biggest things that take a lot of energy are going to downregulate, or in a sense, not function at this time because you don't need them to. It's going to be digestive system and of course your healing or recovery or immune system, because you're going to go into a stress response. It's called fight or flight or freeze. Now, on the flip side of that, let's say that's actual physical stress that you encounter. Let's talk about perceived stress, also known as mental emotional stress, right? Let's say you perceive that there's a stressful situation, whether it's real or not. To you, it is real because you're perceiving it. Let's say in the middle of the night you hear something downstairs make a large sound, a bang or clang, right? And all of a sudden your mind kind of races and says, oh, somebody's breaking into the house. Well, you're perceiving that there's a grizzly bear, same instance and situation here, in your house. So your heart rate starts pounding out of your chest, your palms get sweaty, you start breathing a little bit more shallow and erratic. That's the stress response. It's a perceived stress. And so you can kind of see whether it's physical stress that you actually encounter from manual labor, to car accidents, to traumas, to poor posture, to actually perceived stress that you're perceiving through two biggest factors, today is relationships and finances, but not limited to those two factors. So it doesn't matter which way, physical or mental emotional, they both influence the brain on the same level. So you need to know that. Now what's interesting too is that positive thoughts create a reaction and they meet an emotional requirement. So what I mean by that is when you have positive, uplifting thoughts, and this is trending towards more on the, this is more of, you're having more of those thoughts on a regular basis. Now the average person is negative. They're a negative thinker. They're a negative self-talker to their self, whether they're aware of this or not. But if we can change that and that behavior, but positive thoughts create and meet an emotional requirement. So what I mean by that, they create a nutrient, and this positive thought process has a physiological response in the body to help you learn, help you grow, and help you thrive. When we have a negative thought, what it does, it actually creates a deficiency. Now, I've talked on other lives about this. Whenever we create a deficiency or toxicity, those are the two biggest stressors, always define toxicity or deficiency. It is a stressor. If there's a stressor, that elicits the stress response. Again, whether it's actual or perceived stress, you're going down this path. Now, what does that do? It actually elicits an adaptive physiology, a change or a shift, if you will, in your health, in your physiology. And what does that do when it becomes acute? Well, we talked about that. Blood pressure goes up, breathing becomes more erratic and shallow, healing goes down, digestive slows down, thyroid function actually becomes blocked, so metabolism slows down. All very important things, but in that moment when you're trying to fight, flee, or freeze from the actual bear or the perceived bear, your body is actually responding in an intelligent way to get you to either fight or flee the situation or freeze. It's pretty simple. It's an adaptive physiology. Now, when it goes chronically, we see it have bigger impact, and we're seeing this hugely with a lot of people in the United States today. And examples of this is insulin resistance, metabolic acidity, gut flora imbalance, decreased digestive issues, IBS, Crohn's disease, increased chronic inflammation in the body, decreased immune response, depression, anxiety. The list goes on, and it's dependent on one person to the next of how they express this adaptive physiology. Now, remember the link between the mind-body illness, if you will, is, let me go to my next slide here, is this Hpa Axis System. So what this is the Hypo, Pituitary, Adrenal Axis System. What you need to know is that the brain communicates so this hormonal reaction happens with the stress response, releasing stress hormones. It's talking to the anterior part of your pituitary gland, and it's releasing hormones connect to the adrenals. The adrenals push out cortisol, and this motivates you, influences your body physiology to fight or flee. That's the stress response. So the link between your mind and your body and the illness that can be created is this. It's the stress response. Now, most people are in a chronic stress response and they don't even know it because it's not producing, let's say, an illness or a diagnosis at this time. So the next question you may ask is, how do you know that you're in a stress response state? And it's a very great question, and I want to show you this slide that kind of helps. And it goes back to this. You can test your body to see if it's in this stress response or not. Now, some of the things, what we do in our office is neurostructural testing that actually gives us an idea of the functional and the structural state or physiology that your body is in. And if we see any of these reds or yellows, they're deficiencies that are part of the soft tissue, the muscles and tendons and ligaments that connect to the structure of the spine, and also the spine itself. How well is that moving? Because your spine influences receptors that communicate to the brain and back to the body. So remember, your central connection from your mind and your body is actually the central nervous system, and so that's why we look at it. Some other things too is if you have chronic patterns of pain, inflammation, that very likely could mean that you're in a chronic stressful state or response. You have a problem with your immune system, autoimmune issues, decreased healing, delayed healing, problems sleeping, cancers, high blood pressure, asthma, breathing challenges, cognitive problems. All these are going back to a stressful state that if you have elevated blood pressure, if you have problems breathing, whether it's asthma, COPD, these are all tall tale signs that they're collateral problems from your body being in a stuck, stressful state called the stress response. Now, this leads me into my last part here is our giveaway. So if you stayed with us, anybody who's live answers this question correctly will win a free bottle of vitamin D3. And why is D3 important? Because it helps with your immune system, keeping it strong and supporting that. Now, we can't get vitamin D3 from foods, or we're not designed to. We're designed to from sunlight, and the majority of the time we need to get exposure every day, 20 minutes or so, to exposed skin, arms and legs without sunscreen. Now, as we're getting closer into the holiday season where we're less outside and more inside, or if you just have a job that you work in more indoors like most Americans who are deficient, you'll want this on a regular basis. So you can actually grab this. So it helps with decreasing inflammation, immune system, tissue repair. Okay, that to be said, here's the question. The first person to get it correctly and get it right will win a bottle of vitamin D3, okay? Now you can pick this up at our office. And here we go. What is the birth month of Eugene, our black lab that is our office greeter? Now, the first person to answer correctly live what month he was born, his birthday, will win vitamin D3. And you can pick that up at the office, or possibly we can send it out to you if you're unable to pick that up. So, lastly, please engage, please like, please share, and join us next Wednesday as I'll cover the 3 parts of the mind with the next Health Knox series. And remember, when it comes to your health, you're worth it.